Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we will be looking at a podcast app called Momento. This podcast app enables you to capture highlights while listening and take notes on the go. I will be making a 3 video series in relation to this type of apps. The other app that will be covered will be Snipd. If I would cover all of them in one video, it will take quite a long time. So I will cover all of it in 3 videos. So the first video will be about Momento, the second video will be about Snipd, and the third video will be about my review and my opinion about which one I use and why I use it. And the reason why I chose these 2 apps is that they are both Android based. They are not just Android based, they are also iOS based, but as you know, Air had made some success and was known a lot in the iOS world, and it was a long time since nobody had come up with such functionality. So in order to integrate this into my note-taking system, I have been looking around and found Momento and Snipd. Both Momento and Snipd have Readwise connection, but alternatively Momento has Notion and Notion export functionality, which we will be heavily looking at today, and Snipd has Obsidian functionality as well, which will be covered, as I said, in the second video. So let's just jump in and see how Momento works. So before we dive in, I want to show you some features about the Momento app that I really like. So normally I use Spotify for my podcasts, and what you are able to do is you are able to connect all and import all your podcasts from Spotify and also Apple Podcasts, and I think this is an important feature to have. Also, what you can do is when you are able to, as you can see, you can connect the Notion and Readwise. I will disconnect them and show you how it's done in a few minutes, but what I like is when you are listening to the podcast, you can choose the number of seconds that you want the highlight, which is called as moment in Momento. So I have chosen as 25 seconds, and when you press, it will take and transcribe the 25 seconds just before the moment that you pressed. And I think for me that's about it. And you can also use it with your headphones. So if you tap on your headphones, it will start the moment. It will capture the moment, let's say. And so let's see an example. Maybe we can, just find a new one, a new podcast, and start it off. Let's see. So anywhere in the podcast I will just go and I will just start or make a highlight. So as you see, it's transcribing the last 25 seconds to text. Now I will also show you some examples of the text so that you can have a feel of how correct the transcription is. Sometimes it does have its flaws, but generally it's quite good. So as you see, it has transcribed, and here you can add a note to it. I also even put tags which can be used for later when we export. So you can put it as a literature note, or any kind of subject matter. Like this is about this is a Simon Sinek podcast, so you can tag it with Simon Sinek and just keep it there like that. So let me just have another moment from the same podcast when we will see how it works. So I will go there and transcribe the last 25 seconds. Let's see how it comes out. So the previous one's accuracy was 98%. There we go. So you see now it's about 93%. Let me just add some literature notes. Okay, so now we have two moments from this podcast. So let me go back, go to the settings. Now as you see, my Notion is already connected, so I will just go back to the Notion here, and so as you can see, while we were already taking the notes and the highlights, it already downloaded them, as you can see. So we had two, if you remember, and the tags are also there, right? So it's quite quick. It just happens in a few seconds. So this is quite powerful. So let me show how to set this up. So I will just add a new page, Momento demo, okay, empty, and I will add it has to be a database. It doesn't have to be a normal database. It can also be a board. So let's see, Momento demo table. Okay, so I will go back. Let me open the phone for you. I will go back to Notion and I will refresh the database so that I will choose the new table so that you can see how you can do it. Okay, so I choose my workspace. So I have a demo workspace that I'm using for this video. So I will deselect the one that we had just used and use the new one that I had just created, as you saw. Okay, so now we will just refresh. I think there was some, didn't quite see the database. I will try again. Yes, there it is, Momento demo table, as you see. So I will, the moment that I select it, it will start to sync. And so if we go back, yeah, you see the Momento table. Now it's filling it out as we speak. Yeah, and this is the one that we had just taken the notes on. As you see, it's still just brought everything in together. So but it doesn't mean that you have to click doesn't mean that you have to click the name of the database every time. It will do it automatically. So if you just, let me show you, if you just go back and make another highlight, say from another moment, it will immediately demo. So you see, if you go back here, it should be inside. Yeah, right here. So as you see, you don't have to click it again and again. So it's already automatic, and it's similar to Readwise. So I will go back to the phone screen. Yeah, go back. And so the Readwise is already connected, so I will disconnect it. And you need to get your token for this, so you just press open Readwise, get access token, copy to clipboard, paste the token, and connect Readwise. Okay, so now you have your Readwise connected, and that's it. It will just take everything into Readwise automatically. Now I will close the phone. Now, as you can see, I'm going to show you how Readwise has collected the highlights. You see, this was the podcast, the Simon Sinek podcast that we had worked on with our moments, and you see it has all come like just as we had recorded, all with our notes and tags. So now we have covered how to export our notes either into Notion or into Readwise from the Momento app. Now, if you are already using Readwise, Readwise already has an integration to Obsidian, or you can already export from Readwise to Markdown, which you can also use in Logsec, or you can also use the Readwise Obsidian plugin, and if you sync it, also you can use it in sync with Logsec as well, so that can be another workflow. This is actually how I currently use it. So I collect everything in Readwise, which is then automatically exported to Obsidian, and since my Obsidian and my Logsec are working in sync, all my Readwise are already in Logsec. But if you are not using Obsidian, or you don't use it in sync, you can just export them as Markdown. Now let's say you are not using Readwise and you want to use Notion, but or you are not using Readwise and you want to use Logsec as your note-taking and note-taking app, where you are doing all your writing and synthesizing your ideas. So that workflow would be Momento to Notion, and then from Notion to Logsec. So what is for a certain time I have done this process as well, so I will show you. For example, let's say I want to dive into these notes here. Let's see. Let's say, okay, I want to make a literature note about this idea here, this sentence here. So if I take it and I will turn it into a page in the literature notes page. I think I was not able to click properly. Yeah, so here we go. So what happened is, if I'm going to work on this sentence or idea or anything that is interesting to me, I will link it in Notion to another page, as you can see, which is the literature notes page. So this is normally how it looks, and so this is the sentence that I wanted to work on. So I can click on it, work on it, and take my notes about human systems, how it all connects, etc. And so I can work on it and make my literature notes here. The advantage of this is that if I go back to here, all my, let's say I want to export all of these into Logsec. What happens is, when you want to export these, it will export it as a CSV. It will not export it as each one as a file. So it makes things more complicated. But when you go drill down, and as I showed you, if you turn them into literature notes, when you want to export them, what will happen is you will also include the sub pages, and then when you export, it will export all of the 3 pages with the notes that you are seeing. So let's say that I exported. Let's go to download. So this is the export that it had just done. So I will extract it. Let's see, here it is. So you see, I have all the 3 pages as markdown files, and I can just take them and put them into my Logsec. All I have to do is take these files and put them into the pages folder of Logsec, and I'm done. So I think this taking the highlights from Notion, from Momento into Notion and then into Logsec is, I think this is the best way to do it, because the export is, I know there is some friction, but if you are not using something like Readwise, I think this is the most simple and the process that has the less friction. So thank you for listening to me, and I would very much like to see you in the next video, where I will also look at Snipd, and in the last video also, where we will go over both of them and see which have pros and cons of one over the other. Thank you.